What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Right, I need to talk about some stuff that has been going on recently. I just need to get off my chest because it's been setting my people, dog. My people is just me. And look, so recently I went and watched Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, right? And I just can't understand what happened, dog. Like I just know I didn't watch it, you know, when it first came out. So I would have seen like the negative reviews and comments and people was like, oh, don't watch it. And I was just like, you know, I was just telling myself, it's just the hardcore lore people, you know how people just be like, it deviate like a smidge off the lore or you change dialogues slightly. People just be, you know, oh, this is trash, da 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 da. Nah, be like, I was like, you know, that's not so. You know, the man just freaking out. Amazon portfolio looking crazy right now. The man got The Boys, Invincible, Vox Machina. They got all sorts of stuff that I enjoy. I enjoy The Boys. I enjoy Vox Machina. I enjoy Invincible. Invincible's great. I'm loving their portfolio, but I just don't know what happened with the Rings of Power, dog. Like, it's doing something to me. It has done something to me, dog. Because we can just have a little rant, you know what I'm saying? Just let y'all hear my unfiltered thoughts. So the man at Amazon decide that the main character is going to be Galadriel, you know what I'm saying? And then nobody is saying that she can't be the main character, but like this portrayal of Galadriel is so fucking foreign that I just did not know what I was watching. Like, it felt like the men took Galadriel, right? And tried to make her Daenerys Targaryen. But you see, the only reason we care about Daenerys Targaryen is because of the journey that we went on with her. When you give us this representation of Galadriel that is not the wise visionary elf that we are accustomed seeing, and you give her a revenge arc, right? And you make her violent and arrogant and zealous and insubordinate and just unlikable, dog. It doesn't give us the Daenerys effect, because there is a point in the movie, the series, where she's like, I am Galadriel, high elf, blah, blah, blah. And you're just going to be sitting there like, dog, we do not give a fuck who you are. Like, it's so crazy to me, dog. It's crazy to me because, one, whenever Daenerys, you know, goes on this spiel, you know, she's the mother of dragons, the mother of dragons, the breaker of chains, Queen of Khaleesi, blah, 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 right? Of the Unsullied or whatever, right? The Khaleesi, blah, blah, blah. It's always backed with 3 dragons, an army, right? And she has some master plan to kill everybody there if she don't get what she want. You understand what I'm saying? No, let's put Galadriel in this situation, right? So Galadriel, for some reason, the writers decided that Galadriel is going to wash up on Numenor and she's going to go to the High Queen and tell the High Queen a bunch of shit without an army. She goes there and she's like,
Speak out. Galadriel of the Noldor, daughter of the Golden House of Finarfin, commander of the Northern armies of High King Gil-galad.
She's Galadriel of the high blah 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 blah. We don't really care because she ain't got nobody to back shit. The men are literally in the Queen's kingdom, the Queen's court, probably the most guarded place in Numenor right now, dog. And niggas are ready to kill Galadriel because they don't fuck with elves anymore, dog. The men legit are racist to elves. Lore wise, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened there. You know what I'm saying? Lore wise is at some point the Numenorians started to like shift in their like allegiance to good and bad side, whatever. But like in the series, the reason why this shift isn't, it's weird, and they don't really go into it in depth. It's just a weird shift, and it's crazy. We just see Galadriel going there and tell the queen a bunch of shit, and she's about to get murked, and then some man comes and he's like, oh, he's the most diplomatic person out there because he's allegedly some king that from the Southland.
It is because of the elves that you were given this island. Surely you can spare a few planks and a rudder.
Our ancestors were not given anything. They paid for this isle with the blood of their kin.
What the elf means.
Then if blood be the price of passage, I will pay it. But one way or another, I will depart.
I welcome you to try.
I have no need of your welcome.
And you are quickly wearing out yours.
I just don't get it, bro. It just didn't make sense to me why they would put Galadriel on a revenge arc to save her brother, dog. Just didn't make sense. You know? Didn't make sense to me. I still don't get it. I don't understand why and why they did it so that she was an unlikable character, because it's crazy to me how you can go into somebody's kingdom, you don't have any allies there besides the one man that you washed ashore with, and he don't even like you. That's why you did by yourself. Outside of the main storyline, the subplots, they were okay. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie, for what they were decent. We had Elrond and Durin. This elf and a dwarf combo. You know the elf and the dwarf combos is always hit. That was hitting. The only problem I have with that storyline is that they decided to try to explain the origins of Mithril. For those of you that do not know what Mithril is a ore in Lord of the Rings that has like magical properties.
Mithril is light as a feather and as hard as dragon scales.
They tried to explain Mithril and it just, it was like some backward hula hoops. The man was jumping through to figure out what exactly it is, bro. Then was like, oh, the power of a Balrog and a soldier, a Manwë, which is, I think is Manwë. I believe it's Manwë. Manwë is essentially the god in their universe. And there was like, you know, they may infuse the power of light and they clashed and then a lightning bolt came down. I'm literally, this is word for word, dog. A lightning bolt, the man was fighting a Balrog and a lightning bolt came down from the sky and struck a tree. And then because the tree roots was in the earth, right, the lightning bolt carried through that day and then it infused the energy and thing in the earth, and then it's, you know what I mean, it touched the ores in there and then the ores get infused with energy, and that's why Mithril is Mithril. I don't know why you had to explain that, bro. Like, what? Bro, Mithril is Mithril, that's the end of the story, dog. The whole reason obtaining Mithril, right, is because Elven realm is fading. So the elves, because they're not in their island, right, that's where they live, they are fading. They're dying of a mortal death. Okay, cool, everybody understand that? So you know elves immortal, but because they're upon Middle Earth, they may die. Understand? Everybody understand that concept. Good. So they may change the whole lore to the fact that Mithril, no, right, is going to cure the elves of mortality. Because, and the way how they did it was crazy. I just don't understand why they did it like this. But so basically the tree is back in Alfheim, I can't remember the names, wherever these men living in Middle Earth, right? Tree fading. So the tree got some sort of blight on it. It got like a little black goo or whatever, you know, killing the tree. So Durin and Elrond have a little dispute because the dwarves will mine the Mithril to, you know, increase their economic standing, their firepower, basically, weaponry, arsenal, you know. So, you know, they got their reasons for mining stuff. However, the Mithril is perilous to mine because it's made the mines unstable, essentially, right? So it's all like back and forth between them. And Elrond is like, yeah, well, my people dying. I think Mithril is like, you know, the cure for this thing. Because we need a Mithril. Mithril will be a good asset to build the forge that we need to, you know, build this thing to see if we could fix the realm, blah, blah, blah. That's what he's coming with. And Durin is like, I ain't know about all that is, blah, blah, blah. Then find out that, oh, Mithril can heal the tree. Like, this is what's gonna heal the people. You know what I mean? Because man had a fight. Elrond left a leaf on the table that had blight on it. And Durin threw the little ore, sliver ore of Mithril towards the leaf. And then the leaf came back to life. And I am just there like, ain't no way these men really doing this for me. Outside of that, you know, that's just a small little scene, you know what I'm saying? That's just a small little scene. But outside of that, the whole dynamic of their relationship, their friendship, their banter with each other, the dialogue between the two characters was very good. It was a good story. I will give it that. It's just that explaining the Mithril, the whole debacle with the Mithril and the blight, and then the Balrog and the mana, the warrior light that come down and the lightning strike. I just still wasn't on board for that, but it was a good story. I feel it was better than the main plot, to be honest. In my opinion, we had too much Galadriel. I was just not on Galadriel. I just couldn't deal with Galadriel. I'm so sorry. Then they had the next plot, which was the stranger and the Harfoot. So basically, how it starts is like we see this meteor fall from the sky. So, you know, the people that are familiar with the material of Tolkien or the Silmarillion or Lord of the Rings, whatever, we know that, or well, maybe it would be more the Silmarillion. But we know that Sauron and Morgoth, all them niggas, I'm from this universe version of heaven, right? So we know that this person that coming on from up in here as a meteor, that is most likely either Sauron or another angel. I can't remember what they call them. I think Shars or something like that. I can't remember. But you know, this is somebody important because he kind of know from the sky. You understand? We introduced this new character called the Stranger, and then we have Harfoots. Now, Harfoots are basically primitive hobbits. So before hobbits became hobbits, there were like 3 versions of them, and one of them was the Harfoot. Throughout time, when all 3 came together into like a little tribe or whatever, or a little community, that's when the interbreeding happened, and then you get the evolution of the hobbits. You get me? So basically, now we are at a point where we are seeing the Stranger and these primal hobbits, right? For what it was, that was also a good story. I will give it that. We see hobbits. Well, we see the Harfoots as they are. These version of the hobbits are supposed to be more sneaky, more stealthy, and it's a good story for what it is. It had a lot of callbacks. Well, not really callbacks, but like certain things. If you watch Lord of the Rings, the whole trilogy, you'll see certain things in there, or certain characters in there that remind you of characters in Lord of the Rings. Despite the writers and producers trying to claim that this does not have anything to do with the Peter Jackson films, and they were trying to distance themselves from it, but it didn't really work in their favor, because it was like, oh, that's basically the female version of Frodo. Oh, and that's basically the female version of Sam, because when you look at the characters, they have the same, you know, makeup. Basically, she's fat just like Sam, and it's just like she acts the same way. She's like the supporting character for the female hobbit. What's her name? Poppy? I can't remember her name. So this story itself was decent. Just that these Harfoots was a little cold. It was like anything that bad happened, it was gonna blame you and it was gonna leave you to die. Even though that their mantra is like no one gets left behind. It was a polar opposite to what's happening in the show. But it was a good story. And the only problem I had with the story is that I just did not understand why I was watching that subplot. Because at no point in time did these people ever say anything going on with. They didn't say anything that had relevance to do with the other 2 plots of the story, right? So nobody ever talked about, you know, going to see the dwarves or going to see the elves or going to the Southlands, which we can get into in a minute. But nobody said anything about Galadriel or any of the main characters or any of the places of interest in the story, right? It was very like, why are you watching this? Like, this ain't got nothing to do with what's going on. I really want to get back to Khazad-dûm, where Elrond and Durin is. That's another thing I should have said. Is that the story of Elrond and Durin takes place in Khazad-dûm, which is the place where Gandalf is like, you shall not pass, and slams this, you know what I mean? That's where that taking place. I would like to go back there and see some more, you know what I mean? That dialogue there, that whole storyline is, I would like more of that. I don't care about the Stranger and the Harfoot because I don't understand why I'm watching this. I don't know who the Stranger is. At first I was like, oh, that's because when I saw the meteor coming, I was like, oh, that's Sauron. That gotta be Sauron. But then these strangers out here doing healing niggas, and he's being helpful. That's not what Sauron. That's not Sauron's PO. That's not his MO. You know what I'm saying? He don't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? And why would he do that with hobbits of all people? He can do, if he's going to help you, he's going to do it for some sort of monetary gain. You know what I'm saying? Some sort of, he gotta get something out of it. And hobbits ain't really got much to offer, if you get what I'm saying. Plus, the nigga that they had acting as this Stranger, or the depiction of the Stranger here, he just wasn't handsome. And Sauron is a handsome man. Like, honestly, right? Sauron, the depiction of Sauron, or let's say Anatar, which is the giver of gifts in whatever language, you know what I mean? He is a handsome man. He's beautifully handsome. The man they had depicted as a Stranger was not beautifully handsome. So obviously off the bat, I was like, this ain't Sauron. Why are you watching this? I don't know who this man is. Why am I watching this story? How does this add to the story that we're telling here? You know what I mean? That is my main issue with that storyline. Outside of that main issue, the whole storyline itself, subplot, was decent. It was a decent story. We get to see the hobbits, we get the Stranger, you know what I'm saying? Fair enough. It was decent enough. I just wish they mentioned something to do with the main storyline so we understand. Okay, so he's gonna come to, you know, this place, and he's going to help these people get some sort of end goal. You know what I'm saying? Because because I always compare this to Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones is the only series, a medieval series that I've watched that is very interconnected. So we will have people in Westeros going through a situation, and then we will have someone in Winterfell, right? And that person, whatever that person in Winterfell has, this solution that he has is going to solve the problem in Westeros, whatever, right? So the journey to Westeros is important because it's going to solve the problem that these men out there going through, while the men out there trying to solve it on their own. Okay, that's what we're watching, that subplot. Okay, you get me? Y'all understand that, right? These niggas did not have anything to do with the main storyline of the Blasted series, and it pissed me off because it was a decent story, dog. Why? Because at the end, the men talk about they're going to somewhere completely different that we ain't no name out, dog. I just don't understand, dog. I just don't understand. And then after that, right, we had the whole Southlands debacle. Now, I am not entirely sure, right? But I'm pretty, in my memory of the lore, is because we got to get into lore too, because they may change everything. But in my memory of the lore is that when Morgoth came to Middle Earth, he corrupted what I guess would be Southlands. He corrupted the Southlands and that turned into Mordor, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where Mordor is supposed to be. The Southlands, when Morgoth came, he changed out there into Mordor because he corrupt, you know what I'm saying? That the Southlands was supposed to be Mordor, right? No, I don't understand, right? Why it was called the Southlands and why they decided to create Mordor how they created Mordor. Because if they, no, we get into some technical things here, but if in the beginning of the show, they showed us Morgoth, right? Now, if for the people that don't know who Morgoth is, we are looking at Sauron's boss, right? His higher up, his predecessor, right? His precursor, essentially. Is that the right thing? Precursor? We're looking at his boss right now, right? So he is the big body that's put all this stuff into motion. Because he's defied the gods, he's come out to Middle Earth, start corrupting things, you know, making a mess. And Sauron's be his second in command. So in the beginning, they talk about Morgoth and how Morgoth came and there was a whole thing and he destroyed the trees, blah blah blah, and then they kill out Morgoth and then Sauron come in and there's a whole thing. Like, first of all, why are we talking about Morgoth? Morgoth is like, I think he is first age, and I don't think he comes into the second age. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is first age antagonist. And second age and third age is Sauron, because Sauron is a slimy bastard. So I didn't understand why they started with that. Oh, we can put a pin in that there, right? Because I got a theory. So now we come to the Southlands. And you're just like, okay, this is Southlands, I guess. Where's Mordor? Because all the time you watch, you be like, where's Mordor, right? Whole time, men changed the creation of Mordor. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Morgoth came, and when he came to Middle Earth and he wanted to go to war with the elves for the Silmarils, he corrupted that area and made that Mordor. So having an introduction from Morgoth and then coming to the Southlands and be like, oh, the Mordor isn't here right now, we don't have a thing for Mordor yet. That'd make sense to me, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, man. Who knows, dog? I could be wrong. I ain't a lorist, you know what I'm saying? I ain't hard playing lore like that, but I could be wrong, dog. But I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure when he came, he corrupted that place, and that was Mordor. I don't know, bro. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Anyways, so that, you know, outside of that, they had the Southland storyline, right? So out there, you know, these are men that in the past have sided with Sauron, right? Because they had a war. Yeah, they had a great war. There's got a lot of wars in the lore, right? So they had a war, and these men sided with Sauron, and you know what I'm saying, do blood oaths and thing with the man, blah blah blah. So these men, you know, corrupted, right? So the elves that fought Sauron in the second age, first age, whatever timeline that was, these men watching over these elves watching over these men. So now a little dynamic between the elves and the men. However, we only see a black elf and a woman romantically involved, which was all right. It was cool. But stepfather elf it was a little confusing, because from my perspective, you know, because of Peter Jackson films, I thought that all the elves had elven grace. You know what I'm saying? I thought all elves was like Legolas, brother. I thought these men was top, right? So they have a point in time where the mans get captured, and then apparently the whole elven community get captured. But we only see like 3 elves. I don't understand why, you know. And I didn't really like that. I would have loved to see how the elven community that was watching over the people got captured by a bunch of orcs who are weak in daylight. In this point, in this time period, the orcs are weak in daylight. No, you know what I mean? It's fair enough. That storyline was all right. You know, it wasn't as good as Elrond and the Stranger. It was all right. Most of the action was in that storyline. It was okay. We get to see how the arcs would be more crafty because you know they can't operate in daylight. So if they're in daylight, they can be weaker. So we see how crafty they are. It was interesting to see these second age arcs operate because this is not the Urukai that we are accustomed to seeing in Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. But in my opinion, it was decent. I'm pretty sure they missed a mark here in like a time skip because of one of the characters called Halbrand that was on Galadriel's storyline, because we don't get explanation to why him and some other Southlanders are on a raft in the ocean, right? We don't get explanation. They could have put a time skip in there and make him, you know, whatever. But then the creation of Mordor is chalked up to what is a key, a hilt that is pointing going. You turn this thing and then water's falling on. Like they try to explain too much, you know what I mean? Like scientifically explain things in a mythical world, though. That don't make sense. In a magical mythical world, we're using science to explain shit. Ben was like, the creation of Mordor came about because the man took a sword hilt, put it into a stone thing, right? And that was the key. It turned out there and then the water's falling into the earthy lava and then it's made the volcano erupt. And because the volcano erupt, the ash is turned to place into Mordor. I just can't get it as time, brother. Why the man do that? I don't know. Like a lot of things they've done that I just didn't understand. But outside of that, it was an okay story. The only problem is the main plot, and the main plot, you know what I'm saying, though? If the main plot bad or unbearable, it's just like, why? It's just the torture to watch. That's the end of that. The pet peeves, you know what I'm saying? The good and the bad together, we put that across there. You know what I'm saying? Let me talk about the lore itself, because I didn't understand. You know, I still didn't understand what the man went this road, you know. All right, let's talk about the lore. In the lore, Sauron decides he's going to create some rings. He's going to disguise himself as Anatar, which is his handsome form. He becomes a beautiful being, right? He comes as emissary of the gods, masquerading as this person called Anatar. He goes to the elves because he wants to turn the elves to his side, right? No, he goes to the elves because their realm is fading and he wants to corrupt them. So he teaches them all sort of magic and crafting techniques. I think they form like a crafting guild, essentially, which is called the Dunadai. I think I might be pronouncing that wrong. I might be saying the entire thing wrong. I ain't too sure. But they create a crafting guild, right? And Celebrimbor, the grandson of Fëanor, for y'all that don't know, is the creator of the Silmarils. You know what I'm saying? These things I got point. You know, we ain't getting to that right now. But they create that thing. Right? All right, cool. We understand. You got the crafting guild. You got Sauron there, so masquerading as Anatar, whatever. Galadriel is also in this story, right? But Galadriel is just a wise and visionary elf. My shorty does not have a sword and shield around about here killing people being has wisdom and she's a visionary. So when Anatar comes, Galadriel, Elrond, and someone else that I can't remember that I should be, but the three of them, they say, this Anatar man, I really feeling this man, you know. This man little, you know, he little sus, little suspect. So men is be like, hello, you know what I'm saying? But all the other elves that, you know, crafting and things, men's be like, yeah, because this can help we live a little longer and preserve the realm, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, Galadriel is one of the characters. He's there, Elrond is there, Celebrimbor is there. All these characters that are inside of the Amazon's Ring of Power. So in the Tolkien lore, the Silmarillion, which is basically the history of Middle Earth. That's just like the beginning of the beginning. It's basically Genesis for Middle Earth. You know what I'm saying? The historical text, basically, right? And then you got Morgoth. You got the whole first age, second age, and it stops when you get Lord of the Rings, third age. Now, Celebrimbor, under the tutelage of Anatar/Sauron, teaches Celebrimbor how to create these 16 rings. Understand it? These 16 rings, dog. After the 16 rings are created, Sauron/Anatar goes back to Mordor. Now, you see what I'm saying here? Mordor's already created. You know what I'm saying? So, Okay, that's you know what I'm saying. He goes back to Mordor to craft the One Ring, right? In this space of time, Celebrimbor creates 3 more rings. Okay, this is the 3 rings for the elves inside of the ring verse. You know, you got 3 for the elves, 7 for the dwarves, 9 for the men. Right, all 19 were intended for the elves. Understand? All right, cool. But we can come back to that verse, right? So he goes back to Middle Earth. Celebrimbor creates these rings. Understand? So now we got 19 rings, right? In Mordor, Sauron creates the One Ring. When he puts it on, all of the elves realize, oh shit, we've been hoodwinked. We've been betrayed, behooved. You know what I'm saying? So there's like, okay, we can spread the rings out to the other races so that Sauron can get them back. You know what I'm saying? Okay, good. Everybody understand, all right? Good. So they send some to the dwarves, the humans, blah blah blah, whatever. The 3 rings was they kept them for the elves. The 3 rings that Celebrimbor created, they kept for the elves. But because these rings were created with the magic that Sauron gave, right? They still belong to Sauron. Man, you understand it? So when they don't got the same hold or corruption as the other rings, but because it's the same magic, belong to Sauron. All right, that's all of the way. Okay, that's the creation of the rings. So in the next 1,000 to 2,000 years in the Silmarillion, elves and Sauron go to war against each other, trying to get these rings back or try to keep these rings from Sauron. Right? Full stop. That's the end of that story. Now, throughout the course of the battle after the ring debacle, right, Sauron gets back a couple of the rings, and in that time he becomes, you know, overzealous, and you know, he started giving him all sort of titles. He's like, I'm the king of kings, man. Anybody can mess with me. I'm that guy. And the Númenóreans, you understand, these are the Númenóreans that are in the same rings of power. They hear this man, they hear telling him he's the king of kings, and the man's like, all right. So the man go over there and check my man Sauron, and was like, yeah, though, in the king of kings. Go to war, kill all the people, all the orcs, and I think they had Easterlings. Kill them out. Capture Sauron because Sauron is don't let that happen unless he intends for it to happen. So the man carry back to Númenor as a prisoner, and then in the next 100 years or whatever, it's important to note the timeline, the time frame that these stories happening in, right? Because it's like 1,000 years for the fight for the rings, then 100 years for the Númenóreans capturing Sauron and keeping him there. So when Sauron is captured, he's taken back to Númenor, and in that time he's captured, he eventually becomes the king's advisor. How? We don't really know. Somehow he's managed to get there. Because you know, he master deceiver. Some man just the master that telling lies. So the man convinced the king and the Númenóreans to renounce the gods, erect statues to Morgoth, right? And eventually start making blood sacrifices, blah blah blah, rituals, all sort of dark rituals, whatever. And then eventually he's like, you guys want immortality? You know, the king can tell yes, he won't live forever. You know, the kings of the world just keep it. Men won't live forever, and the men want all that sort of power. So he tells the king, essentially, amass an army, and we're gonna sail to the island of the elves, and we're gonna kill the elves because the elves are the key to your immortality. And the king amasses an army and he sails to the island of the elves. He doesn't get there because God comes down from the sky and he floods Númenor and kills almost everyone, right? Because some of the Númenóreans escape and they are able to go to Middle Earth and found Gondor and I think Ministry of stuff, things of that nature, right? So this is what happens. So he floods Númenor, right? Sends a wave, destroys Númenor. Sauron's physical body is destroyed. He can never take the physical form anymore, you know what I'm saying? So Anatar can't come back. It's just Sauron. So his physical body is destroyed. He escapes from Númenor by his soul. But his soul goes into the sky, goes back to Mordor, and then he stays there till he could amass a physical form. However, he can't take the form of Anatar anymore. So he can't become beautiful anymore. He can just be ugly and musty, you know what I'm saying? Good. Let us talk about my theory, right? So Galadriel's whole character is this character of revenge. Essentially, she has a whole revenge arc going on, which doesn't make sense for her character because she's a wise and visionary person. Instead of the Silmarillion, this is in the First Age when the world was flat. The brothers of Fëanor is the creator of the Silmarils. Morgoth comes, he sees the Silmarils, blah blah. He takes them, kills Fëanor, I believe, and he goes back to Middle Earth. The sons of Fëanor are like, yeah, though we want revenge. They do a blood oath and they're like, we are not resting until we get revenge for our father, essentially. Okay, good. So the only way to get to Middle Earth is via sailing on boats, right? Galadriel's people have boats, and they go to Galadriel's people, and Galadriel's people tell them, no, we're not giving you boats. And the sons of Fëanor are like, all right, and they start a civil war. So they have their followers and Galadriel's people's followers. They have a whole civil war, whatever, and the elves having a war. But Galadriel doesn't hold a grudge towards these men. She should be holding a grudge because they come and kill out some of the clan, and it's a whole massacre. But she doesn't. She's like, she just want to go to Middle Earth and see what we're going on. You know what I'm saying? So her character in the Amazon Rings of Power, it feels like the people, the directors or whoever wrote this storyline, they wrote this storyline for the Silmarillion. I feel like it was a storyline for the Silmarillion. You know what I'm saying? They was writing with the intention they're going to get the rights to the Silmarillion. So Galadriel's character was supposed to be the three sons of, I think it's supposed to be the three sons of Fëanor who swore a blood oath, because in Amazon's Rings of Power, Galadriel swears, not really a blood oath, but she swears to get revenge for her dead brother. Now, that's not a little similar to me, you know what I'm saying? That's not like these sons of Fëanor swearing to get revenge for their dead father, kill Morgoth, you know what I'm saying? So I believe that the whole way how her character is created is like revenge. No matter what, she has to get this thing. No matter what she has to do, she has to get revenge. She gotta deceive, kill people, whatever she gotta do, she gotta get this revenge, and the boy ain't stand she with. That whole thing is the brothers of Fëanor. I mean, the sons of Fëanor, though. That is what they do. That's their thing. There's like, nobody get me. We can kill one if one don't get what we want. You see that with the Civil War, the elves. They wanted boats, and the elves was like, nah, we can't go with the boats because we're gonna do a lot of nonsense. We're not promoting that. We're not. You know what I'm saying? We're not. But that's not us. And men was like, all right, we can kill all of them. And they did. Well, not all, but they killed some until they got the boats. And what the brothers of Fëanor promised to Galadriel is that when we get to Middle Earth, we're gonna send the boats back so that you can come with us, right? Because Galadriel was like, yeah, but she want to go to Middle Earth too. But you know, the higher ups, the higher elves was like, nah, we ain't about that. You know what I'm saying? You know what they did when they got to Middle Earth and Galadriel was still back there trying to heal her people and, you know, get everybody back together? Them niggas burnt the boats when they got to Middle Earth. That sort of those characteristics were put into the character of Galadriel in this Amazon Rings of Power, and this is why I feel like they wrote the story for the Silmarillion, but didn't get the rights. So then they had to rearrange the story and put the shit into the Rings of Power, into the Second Age, going into the Third Age without having the rights. So a lot of the story for Rings of Power, like the creation of the rings, the story of Numenor, all that shit, that is the Silmarillion. They don't have the rights for that. How are you gonna make a story you don't have the rights for, dog? I don't get it. Like, I mean, they could have created the Rings of Power and they could have focused on the ring race, right? I'm pretty sure there's this lore that they could have created for the ring, because a lot is not known about the ring race. They could have created some lore for that and some storyline for that, and you know, we could have followed the storyline for the ring rifts, because I would like to see the Witch King of Angmar again, you know, before he was the Witch King. Hey man, like, it's crazy. But the story for the Strange and the Heartful, I don't really know where that came from. I just feel like it was just like, you know, it's Lord of the Rings, so let's throw some hobbits in there and a you know, hobbit wizard combo. Yeah. And then Durin and Elrond's relationship, even though it was a girl relationship, it also felt like, you know, elf dwarf combo. Yeah. It just felt like they threw these things out for people to be familiar with. And then when they got familiar with them, it was like, yeah, we're not quite. It's a little bit different. It's a little different to the lore in the sense that it doesn't have anything to do with the lore. It's just like a slap in the face, essentially, because I feel like, why did you need to do this? I understand you don't got the rights for it, but like, if you don't got the rights for something, don't like take it and then turn it into, you know, you got this nice apple pie, you know what I'm saying? It's scrumptious, delicious. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the recipe to create this apple pie that you want, so you know what I'm saying? No, you don't have the recipe for that. But I don't mean you gotta go outside and get some mud and some dog shit and put it in a tin and then slap the label of apple pie on it and sell it, dog. When I see the label I'll play on that, I'm gonna be like, I recognize this apple pie. I had that before, dog. That was nice. And you're gonna purchase it. And then you know what happens? You take it home, you know, you sit down, you're gonna cut it open. You know, somehow they mask the scent of dog shit. They mask the scent, right? So it smells like apple pie. It looks like apple pie. But then you cut it open, you decide to take a bite, dog. You know what happens? It doesn't taste like apple pie and you feel betrayed. You feel silly because you trusted these niggas to do justice to peak fiction. I just don't know why. I don't understand why they would do this, dog. Because there's so many things they could have done with the Rings of Power or with just the lore of Lord of the Rings. There are a lot of things that could have been expanded upon. Or if they could have done a whole reboot, dog, like a nine, or not really 9, but a 7-season thing, you know what I'm saying? Or they make it just follow Sauron's. There's so much things they could have done. There's so much things they could have done. I just, whatever, dog. But the thing that pissed me off the most, right? And this is spoilers for anybody that wants to watch the picture. You know, I've been like, you know, avoiding a lot of spoilery topics, right? But the thing that they did that pissed me off was the fact that Sauron was not who I thought it was. And what he did in this story was just free to the highest degree. I'm sorry, but it was free to the highest degree. My nigga was Halbrand this entire time, dog. And I just feel like big man, what you mean, dog? You know when they say that Galadriel and Elrond and them niggas was like, then see Anatar and was like, yeah, man, a little sus. Galadriel and Halbrand become close, essentially. You know what I'm saying? They become close because she depends on him to survive and he depends on her to survive, blah, blah. You know, traversing the politics of the Numenorian kingdom, whatever. Bro, crazy. So she and Halbrand has become a little team, you know what I'm saying? And ain't no time in there she's ever get suspicious of this man being Sauron, dog. You know what I'm saying? So this man, he's just be on this path like, I just want to be a better person. Don't let me have to go back to that person I was before. Even when he gets into like a confrontation with this bar fight, essentially, he's like, you know, guys, here's the thing I took from you. I don't want any trouble. Here's it, bot. And then man's be like, nah, though, we can break your arm. Then he lets out a scream and he goes berserk and he fucks his niggas up, right? Rightfully so. So he looks like this man a little off. But outside of the whole relationship that they have, these niggas is be cool, be. The men don't want to suspect this man for a second. And then they just find out he's Sauron. The way how this do it too is you see this man around the creation of the rings. So essentially, Elrond and Celebrimbor, you know, get the Mithril from the dwarves after they have that whole plot line. Whatever that gets solved, they come back to the elf place, the whatever, dog. Then they are beginning to try to get this Mithril into a form that they could use it to heal the realm. And my nigga Halbrand, right, is come up to the men and give the men some basic ass blacksmithing technique. And I mean, when I tell you the men take science and try to put it into a mythical, magical fantasy world type, bro. The man tell the men mix the ores because mix the ores, dog. This is the legendary techniques that Anatar come, the magics and shit, the man come in and teach the mixing ores together to make it, dog. I just can't get understand to know. And then the man was like, alright, mix the ores together, but like it ain't doing what we wanted to do, like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't doing what we wanted to do, right? And my man's Halbrand has come back and he just like, you know, and the way how he does it, right, is just like he's not involved heavily in the creation of creating the rings. He's just like, maybe it should be a circular. Maybe you should, like, you know what I'm saying? Because he's light, you know what I'm saying? A ring will be better. It's worse. Like, dog, like, what do you mean? This is the legendary technique that the man used. It pissing me off, right? Even talking about it, no, it just pissing me off. Legendary techniques and magic the man bring is mixing ores together and decide, you know, because the light got refract off with the frill and the circular motion to get the power to the... What are we talking about, dog? These are magical rings, brother. How do you explain magic in a scientific way when magic don't exist in our... What the f... Why, dog? I don't get it. I don't understand. And then the man had Galadriel. So that was like one thing, right? So then that's we find out that he saw him because Galadriel be looking at him, man, like, all of a sudden, she's get a fucking epiphany, right? And she's be like, oh, what does this king know about blacksmithing? On Numenor, the man was out there trying to be a blacksmith and make swords and shit because he didn't want to go back to Middle Earth. The man specifically told her he doesn't want to go back to Middle Earth. There's nothing for him there. Anyway, she goes to the people and says, yeah, we want to research, you know, the bloodline of this kingdom. She go research it. She find out that man is this. So she's like, who are you? And the man just be like, know who I am, blah, blah, blah. Then he's do some mind tricks, which was, you know, granted the mind tricks was hard. I like that, eh? That's psychological warfare. That was crazy. I like it. It wasn't insane, but I like it. That's like the subtle, you know what I mean? It was cool. It was cool, dog. It just, his involvement in the creation of the rings, it's just pissing me off. Bro, like, come on, dog. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why couldn't we just make a Rings of Power story that they have anything to do with creation of the rings because we don't got the rights to that? We got the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Fabricate something, dog. You know what I'm saying? Create something. You know what I mean? Like, it don't gotta be lore accurate. You know, just make it a good story. Like, look at Shadow of Mordor, Shadow War, the video game, right? That's set in Middle Earth. The lore for that is insane. Niggas created 2 rings. It was a good ass video game. I still love that video game up to this day, though. I play it up to now, and it's just phenomenal. It had the Nemesis system. It had a good storyline. Expansion on top of the Tolkien lore. To a certain degree, because they couldn't, you know, rewrite it excessive, because in the end they still had to, you know, tidy up. I think the other second ring got destroyed, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? The main character was lovable. I rest my case. Anyways, if you want something to watch, I recommend you to just check out Amazon Rings of Power, because it's something to watch. I'm sure you're gonna have some interesting questions, and hopefully you go and look for some lore videos, you know, to understand what really is going on. If you want something to read, I recommend Claymore. If you want to see a real badass protagonist, how a real badass female protagonist is created, read Claymore. I'm gonna shot one of them later.